The promised covenant blessing of Abraham comes to Gentiles through Jesus. Right there. So there is no other faith that matters or counts that's an Abrahamic faith. It doesn't exist. It's an invention of ecumenists and natural theologians over the centuries. This idea of a common faith of the monotheistic religions. That doesn't even exist. Because I don't know what monotheism is without an arbitrary list of the supposed core attributes. And when Swinburne lists them, the first thing that the Garrity paper does is say, there's no reason why this should take me in the direction of Thomism and Catholicism. Why should I not conclude from this list of arbitrary 8 attributes that the God is really the perennialist God, the Sophia Perennis God? There's nothing that makes me say that that structure has to be within classical Roman Catholic theology. It could just simply be perennialism. It could be René Guénon. It could be Fridtjof Schuon. And beyond that, there's Sikhism. There's versions of Zoroastrianism. There's theistic Satanism. Arguably Marcionism. Arguably henotheism. There's the Druze. There's the Shakti religion, which is a version of Hinduism that's monotheistic. There's the Kaodai sect in Buddhism. There's the Baha'i faith. So there's 9 other monotheistic faiths.
Well, but those aren't the monotheistic faiths that have a first cause.
Oh, what if they do have a first cause? What if I'm a theistic Satanist and Set is my first cause?
Well, but he's not omniscient.
You mean like Allah, who updates his knowledge? Uh-oh. This is why Jake is actually pretty useful for us, because Jake follows Ibn Taymiyyah. And Jake knows that Ibn Taymiyyah, who is like the Palamos of Islam, believes that God has limited knowledge that he updates himself with, because the Quran says that. So they don't even know that traditional Sunni Islam doesn't believe God's omniscient. They're idiots. It's like the Vatican wrote this and didn't really know the nuances of Islam. It's kind of funny, actually.
Well, Ibn Taymiyyah is not real Islam.
Okay, now we get into this other stupid argument as to what's the real Islam or the real Judaism. And this actually works in our favor as well. Because if you're going to tell me what the core central tenets of Judaism are, wouldn't that be determined by the system of Judaism and not what you as a Roman Catholic natural theologian wants to pick out as a commonality? In other words, to argue that there is a common core already assumes the thing that could easily be in question. How do we know that that's the common core? What if being triad is essential to God? If being triad is essential to God, I'm not saying triad is essence. I'm saying that for God to be God, it is essential that he is Father, Son, and Spirit, and that is true, obviously. Then you can't make triad non-essential to God. It's so dumb. And I didn't even go into this in that debate because it's so stupid to even have to debate this. Christ being divine is essential to who our God is in the Nicene Creed. And if you remove one of those things, it's no longer that God. I believe in the Trinity, and I believe in all the things you guys believe, but I don't believe God's omniscient. Guess what? It's not the same God anymore. Now you have a heterodox God that is like a creature, in that he has created attributes. So it's no longer the Trinity, you idiot. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. By the way, there's 7 places in the Quran that speaks of Allah's limited knowledge that has to be updated. It's like, and I think I'm going from memory, maybe Jake or one of these Salafi people, like they described it like God gets like a daily update as to the new facts. I'm not joking. Like, dude, Islam is so stupid. By the way, why would you want to say you worship the same God as when Islam is literally like the dumbest cult on the planet, man? It is literally a cult for sub IQ. I mean, you have to be sub IQ to actually study and look at this religion. It is so stupid. As in so many ways and in so many aspects. And for the Vatican to sit here and like say we have the same God, it's like you're just making yourself look even stupider by saying that. And by the way, the same goes for the ecumenists in the Orthodox world. I don't know why they think this is such a gotcha. It's not. Of course there's ecumenists in the Orthodox world. I've been calling them out for over 10 years. I've done countless podcasts against ecumenism and orthodoxy. You think I don't know that MPs and patriarchates say heterodox things? But how does that equate to the magisterium contradicting? You goobers. If we thought these patriarchs were inerrant, infallible, and the heads of the church, that might actually get you somewhere. But it's just a tu quoque, and it fails because we don't have the same system as you. And congratulations on showing that you don't understand basic Orthodox ecclesiology. That's all you demonstrate from that. Austin, 5-month member, what's up? Can Sam Hyde train you for Trent? I think at this point, I will always be doing, I mean, I don't know about always, but I'll keep doing the open calls. I just don't know that there's any point in the public Roman Catholic debates anymore. I don't even know if I want to even debate Tim anymore. And it's not because of any personal thing. It's just like, I'm not doing it on Cameron's thing. I'm done with Cameron. I'm never interacting with that dude again. These people are just such snakes, man. And it's like, it's funny because all they do is whine and bitch. They're cry bullies about me. And they're the most snaky, deceptive, lying people. I'm talking about Cameron and all that crew. Okay, Tim's never lied. I have another Catholic friend, Dave, that's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's never lied. He's always been straight up. The rest of these people, they can go suck an egg for all I care. I don't want to interact with them. I'm done. I mean, I don't know what else there is. What else can we do and say? If you don't understand at this point that papism is a giant criminal enterprise, then I don't have anything else to talk to you about. Like, I don't even want you around here. You can go elsewhere. I don't need your friendship. I don't need your interactions. I don't care about your channels. I don't care about the clicks. Now, I'm going to have open forums, and there's always the opportunity if Catholics want to call in. But there are no more public Roman Catholics even worth debating anymore. If Tim finds a giant channel, I'll do it. Because I did already tell him I would do that debate. I'm not going to do it on Cameron's channel. I will never talk to that dude again. I'm not ever talking to Sam Shamoon again. These people are insane. I mean, papism makes you go crazy. I mean, imagine defending this stuff. I mean, this is the bullshit you'd have to defend. No wonder you go crazy. And I would say when I was Tradcat, I was probably going crazy. I mean, I drank a lot as a Tradcat. Because deep down, this shit was insane. I don't know. How do I make this work? I might as well get drunk. Like, I don't know, man. Give me a cold beer. And, a lot of these people are gay. So, dude, get the F away. Like, I don't want nothing to do with Leather Daddy Albrecht or none of y'all, man. Y'all are weird gay creeps. Go away from me. Go to your pride festivals or whatever it is you do. Go away from me. Steve McLovin, $5. Roman Catholics launched the Fourth Crusade. The Muslims conquered Constantinople. Roman Catholics claim that they worship with the Muslims. Yeah, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Roll stakes, $5. Their Superman Lois Lane argument was the best that they had. Excuse me, that was the same argument that Trent Horn had about water properties and H2O. I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember what Trent Horn's argument was. That debate was so long ago. But, I mean, here's what I thought about. The more I thought about this morning when I woke up, I was thinking about the the whatever soy bullshit. Like, but by the way, imagine not wanting to go to the Bible and when you sit here making these dumb analogies from freaking soy Superman shit. Man, these people are just trash. They're trash people, man. They're trash people. That's why I'm done with them. Like, I don't. If you're Roman Catholic, just don't even bother. Just move on. Now, if you're interested in open to orthodoxy or not being Roman Catholic, you're welcome. Other Roman Catholics, bye-bye. Go suck an egg. Isn't it interesting that... No, this isn't it. Here we go. In the dumb analogy used, Superman and Clark Kent are actually Kal-El tricking people. So this would mean that the true God deceives people by hiding in every religion. But that's exactly the perennialism that you end up with in the Roman Catholic position defending Vatican II. God becomes the greatest of deceivers, hiding behind the cloak of the religions. Oh, but wait a minute. What is Allah in Islam? The greatest of deceivers. Multiple places in the Quran. Oh, interesting. So, a death cult whose God is limited in knowledge and is the best of deceivers kind of sounds like the same guy that Jesus said came to steal, kill, and destroy. So the God of Islam matches up to Jesus' description of the God, little g, who fell in the beginning, who came to steal, kill, and destroy, who's Satan. Well, guess what? I actually agree with the papists. I agree with the popes. What? How? I agree with the popes of the Middle Ages. The popes of the Middle Ages stated the correct position. That's Antichrist. That's blasphemous, infidel, demon worshiping. That's the correct papal position. Not this demonic bullshit. Finally, those who have not yet received the gospel are related to the gospel in various ways, or various ways to the people of God, excuse me. In the first place, we must recall the people to whom the testament and the promises were given, and for whom Christ was born according to the flesh, Jews. On account of their fathers, they remain dear to God. God does not repent of the gifts and the callings that he issues. But the plan of salvation also includes those that acknowledge the Creator. But wait a minute, Jesus is the Creator. And Allah is the creator of evil. So if our God is not the creator of evil, then he's not the creator of Islam. And if our God and creator is Jesus, then it's also not the God and creator of Islam. And by the way, the phraseology, but I believe the phraseology is actually intended to convey. Now, it's ambiguous here, but I think they actually are intending to convey that you can be saved in Islam. Why do I think that? First of all, why would you don't even need to say the plan of salvation includes everyone. Who doesn't know that? Is there somebody doubting that the plan of salvation means Arabs and Arab peoples or Jews or Muslims? I mean, that's retarded, okay? So why even include the plan of salvation includes those who acknowledge the Creator, unless you mean to say that you can be saved if you know that there's a Creator, like a Muslim. The first amongst these are the Muslims who, professing to hold the faith of Abraham, along with us Catholics, adore the one God. Adoration. Worship and adore with us Catholics. That's the problem passages. This merciful God who on the last day will judge mankind. Wait a minute though. For us Christians, who judges mankind on the last day? Allah? No, Jesus. That's an explicit reference that it is not our God. It is not the same judge. It is not the same reference. And it is true that in the 16 passage, Lumen Gentium 16, it says, professing to hold the faith of Abraham. But if you look at the Nostra Aetate 3 passage, it actually says, just as Abraham. So they are saying that it's the Abrahamic faith. Hence why they created an Abrahamic Faith Center. And did you notice in the debate that in the Roman Catholic mind, what the popes do, their actions, have nothing to do with the doctrine and the theology? Really? Are you sure? Is that actually Catholic theology, that actions, whether pope or layman, have nothing to do with the faith? Let's see what Aquinas says about that. But first, note at the bottom, religions are bound up with the advanced cultures that have struggled to answer questions. In Hinduism, men contemplate the divine mystery and express it through an exhaustible abundance of myths and through searching philosophical inquiry. Okay, that's all kind of generic and bland, not necessarily problematic. Hindus seek freedom from the anguish of our human condition through ascetical practices or profound meditation or a flight to capital G God with love and trust. In other words, polytheistic Hindus now also adore and love and have faith, trust in the one God that Christians worship. No, they don't. Hindu theology is even more removed than the idiocy of Islam. And granted, Islam is nonsense, but Hindu is even further away. That's true. But to be further away or closer to us is irrelevant when what's necessary is the entirety, the whole system. Hence why, again, which I brought up in the debate, which they shouted over. They didn't want to hear this part. When St. Basil writes against Eunomius, who is just another Unitarian like Islam and like the Jews and like the Samaritan woman, Basil says, you've lost the faith. You've lost God. You do not worship the God that we worship, who is Trinity. Eunomius says, I reject your Trinity. Basil says, you no longer have God. St. John Chrysostom, Jews do not have God. They do not have the Father. They do not have the worship of God the Father. Exactly what Jesus says in John 5 and John 8. What is the patristic terminology here? Oh, it's exactly what we say, isn't it? Yeah. And I'm going to talk about them still lying about Palamos because they haven't read Palamos. They don't know that the entire first triad is against natural theology. And Palamos says, if Plato got one conceptual idea about God right, it really doesn't matter at all because it's all demonic and worthless. The very point that we're trying to make. Getting one thing or one attribute doesn't equate to worshiping and loving the thing. All it equates to is getting one attribute right. That's it. And we're going to see what Jesus says about getting one attribute or a handful of attributes right. It doesn't get you anywhere. It's not salvific. Now, they said, I don't have a problem saying it's not salvific. Oh, really? You don't have a problem saying that it's... Then why does Vatican II use the terminology of salvific presence in Islam? By admitting that, you're admitting that Vatican II is a surrendering of the position. Remember Tomaszewski's opening slides? He believes that Islam is not salvific and it does not get you to God, but that the referent is the same. And the whole point of this debate, again, is that Vatican II's documents don't just say, okay, Muslims have a conception of God. They think they love God. They think they worship God. It says together with us Catholics, they do it. You liars. along with us, Muslims adore. Along with us, Catholics, Muslims adore the one God. Let's get a little refresher. What did the medieval popes say? They worship demons. These lunatics sat there saying that you can worship a demon and still worship the one true God. What? I mean, the sophistry of these, like, that's what this is amounting to. That's the level of sophistry of these people.